So in this video, we're going to be talking about 5 really simple things that I do pretty much every day to help me save money as a financial minimalist. The benefit to all of these things is not just financial though, it helps to simplify my everyday existence and just make life a little bit easier. And yes, before we get into it, I know you guys have been asking for the tour of the new house. You'll get it soon. Honestly, I'm just not done unpacking yet. There's still boxes everywhere and my clothing is still in garbage bags and I've just been slacking because I've been busy, so it's coming, just relax. But for now, let's talk about 5 simple ways to save money. So the very first thing that I do to save money on a day-to-day basis is I bargain hunt, and that can mean slightly different things depending on what specifically it is that I'm trying to buy at that very moment, but in any sense, it's usually just a very low time commitment for a fairly significant ROI, at least by comparison. So if I'm making an online purchase, that might mean that I'm taking 5 seconds to Google and check and see if I can find a promo code for that store, or even if I want to be lazier than that, I can use a browser extension. I actually typically use one called Honey, totally not sponsored. If Honey wants to sponsor me, give me a shout. But basically Honey is just a browser extension that when you are at the checkout page for an online store, it'll automatically check and see if it can save you any money via any promo codes. Sometimes you get free shipping, sometimes you get 10% off. Honestly, even if you save $1, it's better in your pocket than in someone else's, and it adds up faster than you think. On the side of grocery shopping, I try to make a concerted effort to predominantly shop at grocery stores that offer price matching. And then I use an app called Flip, which has all of my local grocery stores flyers on it. And whatever item I'm buying, I just type it into the search bar, see if anybody has it for less money, and then I just get a price match when I get to the checkout. And you'd be surprised how much price matching can really save you. It can really add up. There have been times where I have saved $5 or even $20 or $30 on price matching when I go to the grocery store. I have a particular vendetta against grocery stores here in Canada. There tends to be one major chain that owns a lot of the grocery stores, and it is controlled by this billionaire douchebag named Galen Weston. For any of my Canadians, you know what I'm talking about. The Loblaws, No Frills, Zehrs, Superstore, that whole chain, Shoppers Drug Mart. That guy doesn't need any more of your money, so screw him, keep your money where it belongs, keep it in your pocket, and use price matching because you might as well. The second thing that I do on a daily basis to help save me money is something that I also believe to be an integral part of minimalism and simple living as a whole, and that is using what I already have. There's a lot of ways in which this applies, but a really easy example for me to use would be for like a travel coffee cup or coffee mug, a tumbler, whatever you call it. I don't own one of those. I don't have a reusable water bottle. I just use mason jars, and I only use them because I already have them. I use them as drinking glasses in the house. I use them as food storage containers, and yeah, I use them as travel cups because guess what? You can just screw a lid on and take it with you. And do I look a little bit weird pulling up to a red light, sipping iced coffee out of an open mason jar? Maybe, probably. To be honest with you, I don't care. It just makes my life easier. It saves me money. It keeps my house from having too much stuff in it. I don't have an abundance of cabinet space in this new place as of yet. We'll get into that more in the house tour video, but just having less stuff just makes my life easier. Obviously, mason jars is just the tip of the iceberg, but so often I find that we have so much redundancy in our lives. We own so many things that do the same things as other things we already own. So before you decide to immediately run out and buy something, stop for a second and consider if you already own something that could fill that void. If you already own something that could meet that need, whatever it may be. Maybe it is a piece of clothing that you think you need for a certain event. Maybe you already own something that's perfectly suitable. Maybe you've got your eye on a very specific piece of cooking equipment or kitchen gear, and truthfully, you probably already have something that can meet that need. You don't need a special dedicated pan or pot for every kind of food you make. You don't need a special dedicated kind of knife for everything you cut. A knife is a knife and a pan is a pan. For the most part, it doesn't make a difference. And so just using what I have on hand already just makes life easier, it saves me a ton of money, and it's something that I highly recommend everybody does because it's a good sustainability practice as well. We don't need that much stuff. Consumption is out of hand right now, and I think less is always going to be more. Habit number 3, which helps me save a lot of money, like a lot of money, is something that should be a given, but unfortunately for a lot of people just doesn't seem to be, and that is taking good care of my stuff. I have met so many people who honestly straight up abuse their belongings. They just don't take care of anything. They're hard on it. They have no respect for their stuff. And I don't mean for it to sound like inanimate objects are sentient. It's not about that, but it's about just taking care of the things you have, appreciating the things that you have, and making them last longer, which saves so much money. That can mean taking your car in for more frequent oil changes and maintenance so that it stays in tip-top shape. It can mean washing your knives as soon as you're done cutting things so that they don't rust and dull and corrode. It means if you spill something on your clothing or on the carpet, you clean it up right away so it doesn't have a chance to set in as a stain and then you have to wind up tearing out the carpet or replacing your clothing. Really, I see it as pride of ownership, and not so much in the sense that you should have pride for your inanimate consumerist objects, but just appreciation for the things you have and knowing that if you take care of them, they're going to last longer, and maintaining things is almost always cheaper than having to replace them. Be different. Take care of your stuff. It'll save you thousands and thousands of dollars. Minimalist money habit number 4 is one that is actually a little bit newer to me, and it is shopping used. I've actually made an entire video about it last year. I'll link to it in the cards up here, in the description box down below as well. But essentially, shopping for used items can save you so much money. It can get you products that are in like new condition, that have maybe been used for only a very short period of time and hopefully well taken care of, like I was just talking about, and sometimes can save you 50% or more off of retail. And really, this goes for anything. This goes for small appliances, phones, cameras, cars, bikes, tools, TVs, pretty much anything tech related especially. Technology has advanced at such a rapid pace, and there are so many people out there who are so obsessed with having the absolute newest and best of everything that often they are selling their items that are only a year old and have barely been used just so they can get the next newer thing, and you can save tons of money that way. The reason that I say that shopping used is a little bit of a newer thing to me is because I'm gonna be totally honest with you guys here. I have a little bit of germophobia. Actually, more than a little bit, if I'm being totally honest. And I don't use that term lightly. I'm not just making use of the word germaphobe the way that some people do when they're like, ew, boogers. It's not like that. Like, I have some severe germophobia. Like, I'm not as bad as Howie Mandel, but I'm bad enough to not think that Howie Mandel is crazy, if that makes sense. I'm not like so bad that I won't shake someone's hand, but I fully understand and relate to his reasons for not wanting to. And if I think about it enough, it does sketch me out.
Handrails are my enemy. I never go near a handrail.
So I'm not joking when I say that I have some germophobia for sure. And so because of that, there are certain things that I am honestly just not comfortable buying used. Clothing is one of them. Textiles and furniture is another one. Basically anything that I couldn't wipe down with like bleach and fully disinfect, something that's porous or that has to touch my body specifically. And I'm probably gonna get a little bit of flack for this. I know that the used clothing market is a really big thing, but it's just not something that makes me comfortable. If it works for you and you're comfortable with it, by all means go for it, certainly no judgment here, but it's something that just doesn't really make me fully comfortable. I would, for example, be totally fine to have a used coffee table knowing that I could wipe it down, but a fabric couch, not so much. I'm also pretty skeevy about kitchen stuff because I know that like it's touched food and maybe it's part of the vegan thing where I'm like, who knows what kind of piggly wiggly greasy bacon bullshit has been on these plates. I don't want to eat off them. And I recognize that it's not really logical either because I'll still eat at a restaurant that serves non-vegan food and you wash it in the dishwasher. I recognize that the things that I'm saying are not entirely based in logic, and I guess that's where the germophobia comes in. Phobias are not supposed to be logical, but I am getting better. I'm trying my best. And so if you are comfortable shopping for used items, I think it's a great way to save money and a great way to help the environment a little bit along the way. And finally, habit number 5 is what I'm going to call DIY, do it yourself. There are so many things that are so much easier to do than you would ever possibly imagine. And I'm a big fan of doing things myself. I totally recognize that there is value in your time as well, and this is a subjective thing. There are people who will decide that certain menial tasks are not worth their time, and it is more important to them to have that free time and outsource that. Cutting the lawn might be a good example. I think that cutting the lawn is super easy and not a big deal to me. There are some people who can't be bothered to put the time into that, or they think their time is spent better elsewhere, and so they'd rather hire a landscaper. Again, you do you. But for myself, I am generally opposed to hiring out any particular job that I am physically capable of doing on my own. And by having this attitude, I've actually been able to expand the criteria of what I'm capable of doing, which feels really good and makes me feel more competent and confident and capable, and I like that feeling a lot. So if I buy something that requires assembly, you can pretty much guarantee I'm gonna assemble it myself, whatever it may be. I've built 3 barbecues in my life since I was a little kid. I've assembled all of the IKEA crap I've ever bought. That kind of thing is not a big deal to me at all. Like I said, I cut my own lawn, I maintain my own aquarium, I make my dogs food, I groom him myself, I clean my own house, I cook my own meals, I do my own taxes. There's a lot of stuff that is really like overwhelming when you've never tried it, and then when you start doing it, you realize it's just not a big deal. And for me personally, going back to that subjective time versus money thing, I'm somebody who just really enjoys being at home. I'm a huge homebody, and so if the task is something that can be completed low-key at home, to me, it's generally not worth outsourcing. If it's something that requires me to be away from home and drive halfway across the city and all this other stuff, maybe not as big into it, but if I can sit at home and put together a bookshelf or hang out in the backyard and cut the grass or cook a meal and chill and listen to a podcast, I'm happy to do all of those things. So do it yourself because it feels really good to know that you can do it yourself. But also, know your limits within reason. Anyways, that's it. Those are my 5 simple, everyday minimalist habits to help me save money, live as a financial minimalist, live a frugal, easy, simple lifestyle. And this helps me to have less stress, less clutter, less chaos, and more money in my pocket. But if I missed out on anything that seems more obvious to you, if you have any little tricks or tips or habits that you implement day to day to help you save money, I would love to hear about them. Drop me a comment down below, let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much as always for watching, and I will see ya next week. Maybe with a home tour video. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't want to make any promises yet, but it's coming. I promise. You'll see it soon. Take care. Have a good one.